Thank you so much, Satyam and Savita, for chairing this session. You guys have done an incredible job. Firstly, before I begin, I'd like to say I'm here on this stage only because of the unwavering support of my fellow Type 1s sitting in the audience, and a lot of them who are not here but have supported me from my journey, from my day one journey. And not to ever forget the superb support of the clinicians. Actually, many a times I've heard with Type 1s that, they have faced a lot of issues with diagnosis and all of that. It's a part of the journey, but I've been really blessed with amazing clinicians who've not only handled my cases well, but they have seen that in me to be able to, have that potential to give back to the community. So thank you, Diabetes India, for having me here on this lived experience panel. Dr. Banshi Sabu, Dr. Amit Gupta, and all of you who have recognized that today there is need for lived experiences to be an integral part of scientific conferences. So thanks to all of you on behalf of the community. Normally we say that when the war is done, we have the last man standing. So in this continued collective interest of bringing the community's learnings and their sharing within each other as well as with the audience, I am here humbly the last woman standing. Not to go too much into the details of my diagnosis, but there's one line that drives me every single day, which is powered by insulin, driven by passion and purpose. And as Satyam said, I've been living with 3 different types of diagnosis in the last 20 years. Of course, my journey was not all amazing and empowering from day one. There was a lot of confusion and chaos because I couldn't classify completely into one category. Not going into the clinical diagnosis, but it started with gestational diabetes and then a few years of LADA where I thought that I could go back and reverse my condition, but not knowing that ultimately I will land up as a T1D. I do look back at some of the things that I could have done better, but I'm a very optimistic person, and today I really feel I'm so happy to be a T1D, finally, because at least I have clear diagnosis, I have a way forward on how to manage my condition, and most of all, I have a beautiful community to support me. Thanks to my community's efforts and endeavor, they pushed me, they made me learn so many things. Like, I remember at the beginning of my journey, since I'm from Mumbai, I always used to call Vaishali for any of my doubts. And then I have Lakshmi who supported me to say that you must become a certified diabetes educator. In my journey, I didn't have to face glass syringes, or I didn't have to see the tougher side of type 1 diabetes. So a lot of times I did have people coming up to me and asking me, so how many years have you been a type 1? And I actually, and very honestly, I didn't know the answer because there were overlapping gray areas in my diagnosis where for some part I was a gestational diabetic and then moving on to LADA. I don't know when exactly my LADA turned into classic type 1. But very briefly, I'd like to share that for many years, I had a good number of, C-peptide, and I had very high antibodies, but I could manage with just basal insulin and oral medication. So that was a very thin line of transitioning into T1D. But I have received the best of care. So I just feel that, for everyone here, I want to give a positive message. You are in India, you're in the heart of the best diabetes care, and do believe in your community, but also do believe in your medical fraternity. Go back to your doctors whenever you feel you need to, clarify some doubts. Going forward, my induction into the advocacy journey started when everyone used to ask me, so which foundation do you belong to? And I didn't know what to answer because honestly, there was so much of information load. Of course, I'm in Mumbai and JDF is like the first point of contact. But the way I found my community friends was very organic. I just found them, at different times through social media. And I met such amazing people who've helped me in different ways in my journey. So when I didn't have an answer, I just applied to be a Blue Circle voice with the International Diabetes Federation. Without any judgment, they accepted me and they really empowered me. Last March was very special for me because they invited me to be a speaker for Women's Day. And it was so amazing to meet different women from different parts of the world. And we realized that, maybe we have a little less or more access to care and insulin and technology, but the challenges faced by people around the world are almost same, slightly here and there, but almost same. So it's been very humbling to be part of the global advocacy groups as well. My special interests lie in fitness and mental health, and there's a lot of learning related to type 1. I'm so happy and excited that this year Diabetes India invited me to present my first oral paper on fitness and my learnings. And I hope that I give back to the community in many more ways. With that, I'll just go back to my main topic, which is empathy and mindfulness when it comes to type 1 diabetes management. These are just a few lived experience insights. I know a lot has been spoken by so many of our beautiful T1D members here. So I won't go into the repetitive part, but I'd love to go through this briefly. So what exactly is empathy and why does it matter? It's not just the doctors, but it's anyone and everyone around you who needs to understand you as what are you going through in your journey. When it comes to diagnosis, recognizing, responding in a positive and a compassionate way, building an emotional connect, and developing strong, meaningful relationships. That's what we thrive on. What happens when we all get diagnosed? We have a 4-step journey that starts with denial. Oh, why is this happening to me? It can't happen to me. There's a lot of resistance. It takes often very long to get to the stage where you start accepting that you have a condition. And then finally, today, I feel grateful. I'm so grateful for this diagnosis so that I can, really find my real purpose in life. So we go through a range of emotions. Why does it matter? Because we often get judged. So many people around the world have been judged for eating sugar or having a nice soft drink because they live with diabetes. We have faced often a lot of stigma. Mental health challenges are faced at every age and stage. A child is lost in diagnosis, often facing bullying, teenagers dealing with hormones, mood swings, bias and stereotyping, young adults trying to find their worth in the society as well as establishing their careers, looking out for understanding partners, and trying to balance everything in life. How do we relate it to type 1? Taking injections in public, explaining your condition, sharing about the differences between type 1 and type 2, the word diabetes, stigma. You don't look like a diabetic. I've been asked that hundreds of times. What does a diabetic look like? A diabetic is nothing but just a person living with some sort of diabetes, trying to find a place in this world without getting judged. How our attitude matters and how everyone around us, their attitude matters. Often the way we speak can be empowering or discouraging. Today, if I want to present an oral paper, if a clinician comes up to me and says, yeah, definitely you can do it. If Vaishali wants to come and share about her life journey, and I would say, Vaishali, you're going to be amazing. That's what it is all about. We are here to support each other, make each other feel amazing. Poor communication can often leave us feeling very hurtful, and many a times we have built and see negative stereotypes. Very often I used to get asked like, so where have you been all these years if you were a type 1? I was solo tripping. I didn't know where I was. And I was lost in this whole 3 different types of diagnosis. But here I am. That's what matters. Not my number of years of experience. What is my passion today? What is my purpose today? I think that's what really matters. So we have to break these stereotypes. So there are 3 vantage points according to me. How the healthcare professionals speak to us, that really matters. Our parents, our family, our friends, who don't understand different types of diabetes, how they speak to us, how media speaks about diabetes, how social media speaks about diabetes. Very often, all of us here from different support groups have social media posts, stories, and campaigns. What are we trying to do there? We are trying to give a message to people without diabetes to understand us. I think our whole purpose is just that people around us can understand us. And that is why our community and support groups are very, very important. What does our community and support groups do? They help us to build safe and vulnerable spaces. Just like Dr. Anushri very rightly pointed out that we do our madness together. While we all look perfect, I've been trying to be, the perfect MDI doser from Sumit here. And we have our unicorn moments, but there are times where we are treating hypos and hypers at the same time and laughing about it. So that's where the community and support groups have been so important to us. Going to the next part, which is very, very important, is mindfulness. Like looking into my own journey, what has really helped me? So today, a lot of type 1 fellows know me as a marathon runner or a strength training fitness ambassador. But that's not where my journey started. My journey started with just walking because I was trying to reduce my blood sugar levels without understanding correction doses. Back in the day, I didn't know the concept of correction doses. So whenever my blood sugar went high, I just left my house, I went down and I started walking. Very often the walks would be from 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour to maybe 90 minutes. And that's where I felt that that was this isolation that I lived in. And many a times I have resorted to yoga just to help me with my breathing to get over my emotions. But when I look into the present moment, I'm so beautifully be able to synthesize my past learnings into the present context. So what exactly is mindfulness? Being here, being in the moment, engaging with yourself, with your surroundings, with a non-judgmental and grateful attitude. Recognizing your thoughts and feelings. Practically put, when Sumit was giving his presentation, while I was very much here, I was very concerned about my rising blood sugar. What am I going to do about it? Just accept it and say that, oh, I'll do a bad job on the presentation. No, I'm just going to get up, go take a correction dose and come back because that's what I need right now. So mindfulness often flows into self-care and self-love. So let's talk a bit about, is self-care or self-love, selfish? No, it's not, because many times type 1 and many autoimmune conditions have a very strong link with emotions. Tahir spoke about resilience. So when we talk about building physical resilience, becoming stronger, what we also need to do is we need to build on our emotional resilience. And how are we going to do that? See, there are 5 pillars of diabetes management. Very often we speak about 4 pillars. What are the 4 pillars? We all know medicine, which is insulin, meal planning, monitoring, and movement. But my most favorite pillar and the most less talked about is mindfulness and mental health. Let's say we have access to everything. We have the best of insulin, the monitoring techniques, and the best of technology. We have the means to exercise. But what do we do if our mental health or motivation is not on point? So we realize that that one is a very integral piece in our journey. What do I often do when I feel overwhelmed? There are times where I had juggled my corporate work and my assignments, trying to balance family life, trying to balance parents, in-laws, assignments for school with my child. And I was really overwhelmed. And at the same time, you're dealing with hyperglycemia, hypoglycemia, the social pressure of living the urban lifestyle in a fast-paced city like Mumbai. So my quick technique that always helps me even today is the 4 Ps. Pause, reflect, understand what you need, ease the pressure. Just relax in the moment for 30 seconds. Slow down, prioritize what needs to be done right now. Like I just got up and I took my correction dose. That needs to be done right now. Now feel peaceful, let go of all your control. Coming to type 1 diabetes specifically, the 4 Ds have always helped me. When I started training for running, like I have my fellow diabuddy here, Lakshmi, he used to send me voice messages every morning on how I can start my running journey. I have never been a runner, but thanks to his mentoring and support, he's made me run 10K marathons. Yes, you need the discipline, the dedication, and the determination. But being safe is very important. You mustn't forget that diabetes is also a delicate condition. So there are days where you're overwhelmed with your current health situation. Just slow down, let go, don't go for a run, don't take that pressure. So it's very important to realize where you are today because every single day is different. What is the self-love journey all about? It's building resilience, confidence, and a positive relationship with ourselves. I know many type 1s when they are young, they feel, oh, how will I find a suitable partner? Have you ever tried partnering first with yourself? That's something which is a great takeaway for this topic. I realized that it was high time I built a positive relationship first with myself. And how does that go about? First, you need self-acceptance. Yes, I am what I am without judgment. Yes, at times I'm a bit vulnerable. At times I'm a bit emotional. At times I'm a bit hurt. Giving yourself that compassion, the kindness, the peace and the patience that you deserve. Realizing your self-worth. I can tell you that every single person sitting in this room is worthy of something. Understanding what you're worth of is what will happen if you self-love on this journey. Every time I used to call up my diabuddies and say, what can I do for the support group? Because they are already existing entities, their hands are full with lots of work going on at the grassroots level. Yes, at a time I can't support 200 children, but maybe I can just write a letter for you to the Prime Minister to say, let's work on reducing insulin prices. I used to call my support group friends, okay, can I just draft this letter for you? I know you're really busy today. So realizing your worth, finding your place, that really makes you feel empowered. Today when I meet my friends, they all are quite appreciative. They make me feel really loved. And when you realize you're getting burdened, like there are days when some of our support groups are getting 10, 15, 20 calls from moms asking about correction doses. So what do? Take a step back, tell your partner and say, can you handle this for me today? Today I'm already overwhelmed. So make self-care a very important thing in your journey. And then forgiveness. On days you may make mistakes, you may do something wrong in your own dosing, forgive yourself. What are the mindfulness techniques that we can apply specifically to T1D? Observe your patterns, record your data, look at what are the improvement areas, look at your own goal setting, focus on meal planning, ask for help. I think everybody said that. Ask for help. Go back to regular diagnostics. Don't become overconfident. You are not the doctor, even though you're the diabetes educator. For a woman in her 40s, what is important is for the doctor to see things from like a little higher level. Maybe there are other issues, maybe there are gynec problems that they can anticipate. That's where you need the assistance of your doctor. Your regular diagnostics are very important. Sharing your best practices with your fellow diabetes, providing support to each other. And how do we do that? That's what these mindfulness techniques are all about. In a busy day of 24 hours, can we spend 10 minutes reflecting on what we can do to better our life and what we can do to help others around us? So the key takeaways are, yes, diagnosis does come with a lot of burden, management, emotional disturbance, and fear of the unknown, but empathy can help. Stigma, discrimination, judgment is there, it's real. But how can we overcome that? By being more mindful, making sure our mental health is in place. engaging in mindfulness techniques, helping yourself and helping others. And community support groups play a large role in long-term management of type 1 diabetes. So with that, those are the two pictures of some of the activities we've done. I have many such pictures, but those are just reflections of how large groups of people have come together because of their diagnosis, and they have been unrelentingly supporting each other. With this, I would love to thank my community, and I am here, and I just want to say that while I'm in Mumbai and JDF is there, but I'm available to anyone, any part of India, any part of the world, because I belong to the type 1 community. Thank you so much for having me here. And another thing, just my personal mentors who really helped me on this journey, they are not here today, but I'd like to thank them on this platform. Harsh, Prashant, Lakshmi is here, and Sahil and Mariel who've helped me with my fitness journey. And there are so many incredible people. It's so difficult to take names, but yeah, wherever they are always a part of this whole community and fraternity. So thank you so much.